here. But all of these people are interconnected in a world that the general public has no clue even exists. They're like, they just take sides. It's like, no, it's us, meaning us non-consequential people, the majority, the 99%, against the 1%. Even Virginia wrote, I have a tweet of hers. I gave my information to 6 different countries. I am only one person. I cannot take on the 1%ers on my own. 6 countries. Now I can only figure out 3 countries. I figured out, okay, she gave it to France because she flew to France to put Jean-Luc away. She got him. The United States. And I'm thinking Australia. I don't know what are the 3 countries. Do you have a guess as to what are the 3 countries she could have given the information to?
No, I don't know.
Neither do I. But let's go back to Prince Andrew. So his friends have indicated that he is not planning to comment on her passing. Is that a surprise to anyone, I wonder?
He doesn't want to attract any attention to himself. Let me just go back to what we were talking about earlier, just briefly then. So, according to Urban Dictionary, the definition of pharmacide is the act of unaliving through prescription medication, specifically through its overuse or misuse by innocent patients. Now, I've got an autistic niece who is severely epileptic. She has hundreds of seizures every week, all throughout the night, and she has to be watched all throughout the night. And she's extremely heavily medicated. The side effects are so severe that they have to constantly change the dosages and keep everything very carefully balanced. So if Virginia was getting medicated then, and she had this damage to the kidneys that was accruing, because it's the liver and the kidneys that are processing these medications, then surely her doctors would have been monitoring the levels that were affecting her kidneys and pull her away from further damage instead of allowing, what we're theorizing here could have possibly have happened. What are your thoughts on that, Kirby?
Yeah, I've given that some thought as well. It seems like she perhaps was not really attending to herself, because she appears to have been focused on trying to keep her kids. And because what happened after this so-called bus accident, she went home. She was in the car. She went home, and then she went to the hospital. And it was while she was at the hospital that one of the doctors discovered, hey, you have something going on here, and if you don't take care of this, you're not going to be around long, which is where that came from. So even she did not know, but there were signs, and there have been signs for a while, because I was looking at, well, what, and it's a silent killer. It's a silent killer, because what happens is you're bloated, but you think maybe, oh, I've gained a couple of pounds, but bloating is a sign, and as women, we're like, oh my God, I've gained 5 pounds. I've got to do something about it. Maybe she was, but having this problem, her body wasn't going to allow her to lose this bloating, because it didn't come from, let's say, overeating. It came from the fact that her body was not functioning the way a normal person would have. Add to that, then, the pills, they accumulate, right? She's not processing these. Therefore, she's taking a normal dose that's prescribed by her doctor without knowing that she has this underlying kidney thing going on. And she's taking the same dose day after day, night after night, or whatever. Now that's not processing. So she's building less resistance to this thing. So whatever she was taking in addition to this, she may have just not known that her body was not processing this. Her doctors, maybe she didn't see a doctor recently, other than when that bus incident happened about a month ago. And perhaps that's what happened. Perhaps that's what happened, that she was just doing what was normal for her, but her body was just not absorbing it the way a healthy body would have absorbed it, or the way that perhaps if a doctor had been kept in the loop, they would have caught it. But she was in a very fragile position where she's fighting for her kids, 14, 17, and 19. So they're still young.
Yes, Dawn, the doctor should have known the side effects on her kidneys and been doing regular checkups. So again, this ties into pharmacide. I think they tried to hold Michael Jackson's doctor to account with him, but I'm not sure what the outcome of that was.
Yeah, I know what the outcome was. He was deemed to have accidentally, I forget what that's called, instead of like intentional, because he was very negligent. And they gave him 4 years, of which he served 2. And he lost his medical license, but gone. He served 2 for manslaughter, for unintentional manslaughter, but not for, the neglect. What he was doing with Michael Jackson was insane. But yeah,
so
just 2 years.
So Beverly, one of our hosts, has sent me this picture that it's on the screen right now. That Virginia with her brother Danny, and she's
Those
saying
are her
that
2
was
brothers.
2 brothers. She's saying that was the last. Is this the very last photo we know that exists of her that was publicly posted?
Well, that and another one that I sent you of her and her father, Sky Roberts. I sent you, I think, I don't know, I think it was Monday. Oh, today's only Tuesday. My goodness. Okay. Yeah, between this one and another one, I think those are the last.
Do we know the exact dates of these?
No.
Yeah, I've got the one with her father now. Let's get that one up there as well. Let's see, share this one. There we go. There we go. So these were
Yeah.
posted around. These are posted around the same time.
Yeah.
And that's
And
her
that
father.
would
He,
have,
he looks so young.
he does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Now here's the thing, her father's, if you pull up videos of when he was questioned, when the whole Prince Andrew thing flared up, and you listen to him speak, he's a plain-spoken guy. Plain-spoken. He's a regular person. Like Virginia was when she was first ensnared into this thing. So he was put into situations with in let's say in television studios where the hosts were very well dressed, and Sky is, a simple guy. He's just wearing a denim shirt, with a pair of jeans, and that's who he is. And he's being questioned about, did you know this? Did you? And then what we have to know about her father is that he did not know what was going on, because people also blame her parents. Well, her father learned about what had actually happened to, let's say, J.E., Ghislaine, and Prince Andrew, not from Virginia, but through the newspaper, through mainstream media. So he was completely unaware. And as far as her mother, she's had a bad relationship, which is why she ended up where she did to begin with her mother. So, but he didn't know until he heard it in the news. And then he was like, no, Virginia wants both things. She wants him to be held account, and she wants compensation. She wants both. That is what he said, on because I watched some of those just to see what was going on back then.
So, how old was Virginia then when the other predator before Jeffrey
14.
and 14? And did that on go for what was it, 2 years?
Yeah, it went on, and I don't know for how long. I think it was 6 months. His name was
Okay.
Ron Eppinger, but he too was a friend of J.E.'s. I mean, how those worlds interconnect is insane.
Almost the same name, Eppinger,
Yeah,
Epstein.
yeah, yeah. And
Bizarre.
he had a bunch of little girls like Virginia. She was his favorite. She was forced to sleep in his bed. I mean, the whole thing was horrible. And then he was raided, he was busted. Virginia ends up, in another girl's home. She pleads with her father. She ends up he's working for Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago. He's like, you know what? I've got a job for you. He got her a job as, an attendant, and she was beginning to get her life back on track with the help of her father, which is what he wanted to do. And then in strolls Ghislaine, gives her her phone number, chats her up, says, "Hey, come on over. I know a wealthy guy, and where he's looking for a masseuse. That could be a good thing for you." And he drives her unknowingly to the house at 5:30 the same day, where she is then accosted by these two monsters.
Wow. That's so sad that she was turning her life around at that point. Going back to Eppinger, that 6 months, had she fallen out with her mother, did you say, and she'd run away from home? Is that what happened?
Yes, she had been abused by a family relative at the age, I believe it's 7. Correct me if I'm
Oh,
wrong.
no.
Everyone
Oh,
and from the time that she was 7, she had had a lot of issues with that and her mother. And she ran away from home at the age of 14, and because they had been putting her into these child care places where she was, again, how, what happens there. I mean, in fact, Boys Town, which was created we all know Omaha, Nebraska. We know it primarily because of the Franklin case. And I write about that, but I'll be writing more about it now. Um, it was created for the sole purpose of transportation. And it was back, I think, in the early 1920s. I write about that, and I write about how that was close to then President Truman and the presidents. All of these, there are places like the Boy Scouts of America, which Gary Ackerman was involved with. These are pipelines for the feeding the machine. Now, these machines are used. Rusty Nelson of the Franklin case, who was also imprisoned and has also discussed being MK Ultra, because there's a lot of MK Ultra stuff that nobody's talking about either. Um, he said that the money that came in, quote, funded the Iran-Contra war. Well, it didn't entirely fund it, but that's what these black ops, like the JE situation, what Virginia was ensnared in, all of these interlock. The reason they